Hello, hello, hello! How you guys doing? Oh my god, welcome to another episode of Solving NCLEX Questions. Listen, we have to come up with a name for the series. So if you have a cool name for this series, Solving NCLEX Questions, please drop it down in the comments so that we can start using it. Alright, listen, today we're going to discuss an NCLEX question. This is a topic that's very popular. All nurses get this topic on the real NCLEX test. My students have asked about it, and you have asked about it, so I want to deliver information to you, and it's gonna blow your mind away, all right? A lot of people cannot differentiate between interdisciplinary care or team and multidisciplinary care or team. So listen, first off, we're gonna start with interdisciplinary care, all right? And if you stay to the end of this video, I'm gonna give you something for free, and I'm gonna give you an assignment. All right, so listen, as usual, if you have not watched one of those episodes, you need to watch them. They are very cool. But this is the subject of the question in blue. Usually, we read the subject of the question 3 times. You'll hear me say this over and over again. My students already know that, because you miss keywords if you read it only 1 time, all right? The charge nurse is getting ready to plan an interdisciplinary team meeting. Which patient is most important to be selected for discussion? All right, first time general reading. The second time, I'm gonna pull up my red marker and I'm gonna highlight keywords. All right, so the charge nurse is getting ready to plan an interdisciplinary team meeting. All right, interdisciplinary team, that is a freaking keyword. Which patient is most important to be selected for the discussion? Most, all right? When we say most, it is like the highest priority patient, all right? So those are the 2 keywords. I need to keep my focus on those 2 keywords. So if I want to read it a 3rd time and rephrase it in my own words, what do I say? Listen, the charge nurse is getting ready for an interdisciplinary team meeting. I've got 4 patients. Which one of them is most important to be discussed on that meeting, all right? So listen, I'm gonna read the options, and one by one, by now you don't know the definition of interdisciplinary meetings. So, and if you know, you are freaking amazing. But if you don't know, try to guess from the options, all right? So, number 1, a depressive patient with history of suicide who is unwilling to communicate. What do you guys think? Listen, when you read an option, try to critique it. So in this case, it is a depressive patient, history of suicide, right? Is unwilling to communicate. So the patient is sitting on his bed in his room. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He attempted suicide in the past, and now he's admitted, and you know he's in a depressive mood, right? So what do you do to that patient? Do you need to discuss his case in an interdisciplinary team meeting? Usually, with my experience, those patients, you know, the physician comes into the room, maybe a psychiatric physician. They come into the room, try to talk to the patient, and then the nurse will keep an eye on this patient. Usually it's 1-to-1 because this patient has a history of suicide. So I don't want this patient to attempt suicide. So there's 1-to-1 care for this patient. Does this patient need to go into an interdisciplinary team, like multiple team members on the unit and discuss his case? I don't think so, right? I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna move to the second option. Number 2, a patient who is picking an argument with the staff and is being extremely manipulative. What do you think? A patient, he's picking arguments with the staff. What does that mean? I mean, whenever a staff member or a nurse, CNA, you know, tech, whatever the case might be, they come into the room, this patient is extremely manipulative. I mean, a borderline personality disorder patients, they usually try to manipulate the staff. So if a nurse comes in, they tell them one thing, they might tell them, hey, the doctor told me not to take this medication, right? And then the nurse will sit there and, I didn't get any orders. And then she will go outside and, you know, maybe call the physician and ask the physician, hey, did you cancel this order? Did you discontinue this order? And that will bring arguments, right? And then another nurse might go in, and then the patient would say something else. So borderline personality disorders, these patients are very harmful to themselves in terms of not taking medication, not following procedure. They don't want to participate in their care and try to manipulate, you know, they delay their care. So they try to manipulate nurses, physicians, social workers, physical therapists, I mean, you name it, all right? So this patient, because he might cause harm to himself, all right, and he's being manipulative, definitely an interdisciplinary team meeting should be done to make sure that everyone is on board and they know that that patient is manipulative so that they can set goals and processes to deal with this patient, all right? So this is a correct answer, but there might be another answer with, remember, it's the most, with a higher priority to be discussed, all right? So let's go ahead. Number 3, a patient with visual hallucination and is pacing the hallways at night, all right? So a patient with visual hallucination paces the hallways at night. What do you think? Those are symptoms of what? Visual hallucinations. Do you know? You should know. Because on my 4-week NCLEX crash course, I usually discuss mental disorders on day 4. I usually discuss psych medication on day 2. Why do I discuss them early in the program? Because those are very important questions. Even though this is not a psych question, but there is a psych option that you need to understand. Because if you don't understand this, you will get confused. And that's why I give mental disorders and psych medication early in my program so that my nurses can make flashcards, can take their own notes and repeat it over and over again during the whole 4 weeks so that they will not forget. And I always tell you, repetition is key to success. So if you want to memorize something, dude, you need to repeat it at least 7 consecutive times on 7 different days. Not different days, but 7 different consecutive days. All right. So visual hallucination and a patient is pacing the floor all night. This is a schizophrenia patient, all right? With schizophrenia patient, do I need an interdisciplinary team meeting? This patient actually does not need to be discussed in a conference room with different team members. So usually nurses who work on psych units, they are highly trained and professional and they can deal with those acute episodes of schizophrenia. So this patient, there's no indication to be discussed because this patient, he's not causing harm. There's no conflict here. So there's no need to be discussed in an interdisciplinary team meeting, all right? So number 1, number 3, I already canceled those, but I'm keeping them. Number 4, a newly diagnosed patient with brain tumor who has 4 kids. What do you guys think? All right, newly diagnosed patient, brain tumor, he has 4 kids. What do you think? Do I need to discuss this case in an interdisciplinary team? No. Why? There's no conflict. Definitely, this is a traumatic patient. He's very traumatized. I need to work on his psychology. There's a new diagnosis. I need to give him a lot of nurse teaching. But, I'm going to teach him about chemotherapy, radiation therapy, this and that. But, do I need to discuss this in an interdisciplinary team meeting? No, because there's no conflict here. So, by now, you understand that number 2 is the right answer, and you understand the rationale behind it. Interdisciplinary team, if I'm choosing a priority, which patient has priority to be discussed first? Definitely the patient who's causing problems, definitely the patient who has conflict with the staff. And if you have an option that a patient is trying to cause self-harm, not in this case, the suicide is just one-on-one. This is very popular on psych units. You just give the patient to a nurse, they monitor him, and they keep that patient under direct eyesight. It could be eyesight or it could be a camera, but definitely someone is monitoring that patient 24/7. But this patient does not need to be discussed in an interdisciplinary team. Listen, a brief definition, and I'm gonna put it on the screen, a brief definition about interdisciplinary care. An interdisciplinary approach involves team members from different disciplines working collaboratively with a common purpose to set goals, make decisions, and share resources and responsibilities. So who are the members that are going to be on the interdisciplinary team? Definitely the nurse taking care of that patient, the charge nurse, a nurse manager, a social worker, maybe a physician, definitely, maybe a resident, a dietitian, and a case manager in case financial issues were involved in this patient's situation. Sometimes Medicaid or Medicare will stop paying for the patient, or maybe insurance companies. So a case manager will try to resolve those and find other options, maybe social worker as well. All right? So listen, I hope you loved this video. the multidisciplinary team approach, I'm not gonna talk about it in this video, but I'm gonna discuss it in the next episode. Listen, you've got two assignments. Assignment number one, I want you to come up with a name to this series, right? If you love this series, please come up with a cool name. Your second assignment is to put a definition for a multidisciplinary team down in the comments, all right? And by now, if you did not share this video, I hate you. Please click that share button. I mean, a lot of people hesitate. I'm only asking for a share button. Please share this video on your Facebook. I mean, I bet there's a lot of nurses out there who would love to learn more about interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary team approaches, and they have this confusion, but I'm gonna clear it out. I hope you love this video. If you are on Facebook, please give me a heart. If you're on YouTube, give me a thumbs up. And listen, if you did not pick up my free copy for my ebook, please do it right now. A lot of people have been sending me emails telling me, please send me your ebook. Listen, you don't have to call me. There's a link at the bottom. Just click the link, put your email, your name, and you'll be able to download this ebook for free. Love your faces. Until next time, be an Alpha Slice.
I'll try so hard to fade away.